This summary is about the book The Fox Mindset. In this book, you will learn about the following lessons: the power of adaptability, outsmarting limitations, curiosity as a weapon, strategic patience, turning failures into traps, and the silent observer. Just think, there is an animal in the jungle that is never considered strong, never called a king, but still its identity is cunning, intelligence, and the ability to save itself and move forward in every situation. Yes, I am talking about the fox. Now think, what would happen if you adopted that same mindset, that way of thinking, that way of living life like a game? You would find a way to victory even when the world tries to stop you and circumstances are against you. The Mindset book teaches us that real power is not of muscles, but of the mind. To win, it's not necessary to be a lion, it's enough to be a fox. So, on this thrilling journey today, we will uncover the secrets of this mindset and see how, by awakening the fox within you, you can win every battle in the jungle of your life. Chapter 1. The Power of Adaptability. Friends, what is the biggest truth of life? Everything changes. Circumstances change, people change, time changes. And if we don't change ourselves, time changes us. Now imagine a lion in a jungle. Powerful, fearsome, ruling over everyone. But if it rains continuously for months and there is no prey, the lion will die of hunger. On the other hand, there is a fox. Not as powerful, not as fearsome, but what does it do? It understands the circumstances, finds new ways. Sometimes it eats fruits. Sometimes it catches small creatures. And in this way, it survives. This is the power of adaptability, which means to adjust yourself to every situation. In life, we often feel that only strength, money, or a big name will make us successful. But in reality, the world salutes those who are flexible, who make their own way no matter what the circumstances. Take a look at your life. How many times have you made a plan and time has shattered it? You thought everything was under your control, but suddenly a situation changed and you were shaken. But there are some people who, without crying or panicking, find new paths. These are the people who move forward. Think how important it is to become like water. When you pour water into any container, it takes its shape. If you place a stone in the path of water, the water doesn't stop. It finds a new path. Now, the question is, are we as flexible as water in our lives, or are we waiting to break like a rigid stone? The fox teaches us that surviving in every situation is the real victory. No matter how tough the world becomes, if you know how to change your way of thinking, you will never lose. Take a small example. Look at the world of technology. Nokia was once the world's biggest mobile brand. Everyone thought no one could shake Nokia. But time changed. Smartphones came, and Nokia didn't adapt itself. As a result, that brand is almost gone. On the other hand, companies like Apple and Samsung kept reinventing themselves with every changing trend, and today they rule the entire market. This same lesson applies to our personal lives. If we don't learn to change with the circumstances, we will be left behind. Now, ask yourself a question. When you get into trouble, what do? Do you cry, give up, or use your mind to find a new path? Because this is what determines whether you will become a prey or a predator in the game of life. Adaptability does not mean that you change your values. Rather, it means changing your strategies according to the situation. Think about it. If a fox lived only on the strength like a lion, it would have been finished long ago. But its greatest strength is this: it changes the game according to the circumstances. The real magic of life is also hidden here. When you cannot change the circumstances, change yourself. When a wall stands in front of you, don't try to break it. Find a way to go around it. This is the true power of adaptability. Now imagine If you bring this quality into your life, if you learn to twist every changing situation in your favor, who would have the courage to stop you? Because whether the market crashes, people leave you, or circumstances worsen, you will always find your way. Remember, the jungle belongs to the one who understands the situation and reinvents himself with the changing times. It is not necessary to be powerful, it is necessary to be adaptable. And when you learn this art, the whole world becomes an open book for you. Chapter 2. Outsmarting Limitations. Friends, there is one common thing in all our lives. Limitations. Sometimes a lack of money, sometimes a lack of resources, sometimes no support from people, and sometimes our own self-doubt. And to be honest, life always makes us feel that you don't have this, so you cannot move forward. But seriously, is that true? Is it true that only those people win who have everything ready? If that were the case, the biggest changes in the world would never have happened. Look at the fox. It's not the fastest in the jungle, nor the most powerful. It doesn't have a roar like a lion, but still, when it's hungry, it catches its prey. It never wins by fighting directly. It wins by using its mind. This is what it means to outsmart limitations, to turn your weakness into strength. Now think about the story of your life. How many times have you given up on your dreams because you didn't have the resources? How many times did you stop yourself because you felt you didn't have what others had? But the real game begins where there are no resources and the mind comes into play. Think about it. If a poor child becomes an IAS officer by studying from old library books without a big school or good facilities, didn't he have limitations? Yes, he did, but he overcame them with his creativity. Limitations don't come to stop us, they challenge us. They see how clever we are. And this cleverness is the real power of the fox. Let's take an example. Imagine that you have to go across a high wall. If you were a lion, you would probably try to break it. But what would a fox do? It would wander around the wall, look for its small cracks, or find a way that has not come to the notice of others. And finally, it will get across the wall. Because real victory is not achieved by strength, but by the mind.
Now the question is, do we look at our limitations in the same way, or do we make them an excuse to give up and choose the easy way out? There will always be some lack in life, be it of time, money, or relationships. But if we make every lack an excuse, we will never be able to move forward. We have to learn how to make our limitations a part of the game and defeat them. Pay attention. Every successful person in the world started their journey with limitations. Some had no money, some had no connections, and some were not accepted by society. But the only difference was that they did not make those limitations an excuse. They took them as a challenge. Remember, limitation doesn't mean the end. Limitation just asks, can you think differently from what everyone else thinks? As the fox thinks, if big animals have caught the prey in the jungle, it survives on the small leftovers. If the lion is wandering during the day, it comes out at night. This is strategy. This is cleverness. Now look at your life again. What are the things that are stopping you? Money, time, support, confidence. And think, are these limitations really big enough to stop you? Or are they just forcing you to use your mind and find a new way? Imagine if you start looking at every limitation as a challenge. If you start covering every lack with your creativity, how many doors will open in your life? After all, the fox teaches us this: when resources are low, use your mind more. When the path seems closed, find a new one. And when the world says you can't do it, just smile quietly and prove them wrong. Because limitations are just an illusion. The one who outsmarts them becomes the real winner. Chapter 3. Curiosity as a weapon. Friends, have you noticed? Children ask questions about everything. Why does this happen? How does this work? What if this happens? There is always a sparkle in their eyes because their curiosity is alive. But as we grow up, society teaches us not to ask too many questions. Just do what everyone else does. And slowly, our curiosity is suppressed. But the truth is that the biggest weapon, the greatest power in the world, is curiosity. Think about the story of the fox. It doesn't have strength nor much speed, but there is one thing, its sharp curiosity. When it walks in the jungle, its attention goes to every sound, every smell, every movement. It observes, it learns, and then it uses that knowledge for its survival. That is, curiosity is its strategy. Life is also just like this. If you keep doing what everyone else is doing, you will stay where everyone is. But if you start asking questions, can this be done in another way? Is there a hidden path? Can I look at this from a different angle? That's where real growth begins. Curiosity is not just a way to gain knowledge, but it's a weapon that shows you new paths in every situation. Imagine if Thomas Edison had not asked the question, can darkness be replaced by light? The world might still be in darkness today. If the Wright brothers were not driven by curiosity, can humans fly in the sky? The dream of the airplane would never have come true. Curiosity makes you go from ordinary to extraordinary. Now look at your life. How many times have you just accepted a problem the way everyone did? How many times have you not even asked yourself if there could be another solution to this problem? In reality, the difference between our victory and defeat is determined by curiosity. A simple example, imagine you are stuck in a traffic jam. Everyone is getting angry sitting in their cars. But what will a curious person do? He will look at the surrounding roads, find a shortcut, or find an option that gets him out before others. Now think, apply this principle to your whole life. Curiosity gives you options. When everyone thinks there is only one way, curiosity says, no, there are other ways too. You just have to search for them. But the biggest question is, how do we keep our curiosity alive? Because most people stop asking questions out of fear. They are afraid that people will make fun of them or that they will be proven wrong. But the truth is that curiosity is never wrong. Wrong is only that mindset that is afraid of asking questions. Remember, curiosity not only gives knowledge, but also confidence. When you ask questions and find answers, you get a clarity that others don't have, and that clarity takes you ahead in every game. Now imagine if you start using curiosity in every situation in your life, if you look at every problem from a new perspective, if you look for hidden opportunities in every chance, think how fast you will grow. Curiosity separates us from average people. When the world says impossible, curiosity whispers, maybe it's possible, try it once. And that one attempt makes history. Like the fox, we also have to make our curiosity our weapon. We have to observe every situation, every moment, every opportunity carefully. Because sometimes victory is hidden right in front of us, but our curiosity doesn't have the courage to see it. So friends, don't suppress your curiosity. Keep it alive. Ask questions, explore and observe. Because the sharpest weapon of life is not a sword, but a curious mind. Chapter 4, Strategic Patience. Friends, have you ever noticed what the most difficult thing in life is? Not running, not working hard, not fighting. The most difficult thing is to wait, because during the waiting time, our mind becomes restless. We feel we need to take action now. We need results now. Everything should change now. But the real game is when we know how to wait for the right time. A lion in the jungle hunts by showing its strength, but the fox has patience. It knows that it should not strike at every opportunity. Sometimes it should just observe, be quiet, and wait for the right time. And when that time comes, the fox's strike is so precise that the prey cannot escape. This is strategic patience. It means patience is not just sitting quietly, but waiting with the right strategy.
Think about how many times our life goes through such situations. We want everything immediately. Quick money, quick success, quick recognition. We run, we chase, we look for shortcuts. But the people who become real winners know that every seed needs time to become a tree. If you sow a seed today, you won't get fruit tomorrow. But if you have patience and nurture it on time, in the coming years, that same seed will give you both shade and fruit. Strategic patience doesn't mean you sit idle. It means you work, you learn, you move forward. But don't be in a hurry to get the results. The result will come only when its right time comes. Take the example of the stock market. Those people who panic and keep buying and selling every day often end up at a loss. On the other hand, those who wait for the right time make big profits. Why? Because patience takes them to that perfect opportunity where one move changes everything. Now think, if you keep taking decisions without thinking at every opportunity, will you be able to win in the long run? No, you will have to do what the fox does. Observe, wait for the right time, and then strike. But why is patience so difficult? Because humans want instant results. We feel that we need the fruit of our hard work right now. But the truth is that the bigger the goal, the longer the wait. And the more perfect the timing, the bigger the victory. Strategic patience gives you clarity. When you are not in a hurry, your mind is calm, and a calm mind always makes the right decision. Think about it. If you keep running everywhere, you will stumble everywhere. But if you stop for a while, look, understand, and analyze, that same patience will get you to your destination faster than a shortcut. The fox teaches us this. It knows that not every day is a hunting day. Sometimes it is better to stay hungry than to strike at an opportunity where victory is not guaranteed. It waits, and when the time is right, it's one step changes the whole game. Now look at your life. How many times have you regretted taking decisions in a hurry? And how many times, when you had patience, did things come in your favor on their own? This is the difference. Patience makes situations easier for you. Strategic patience means working hard, but waiting for the right time. Take action, but only when the opportunity is perfect. And when that time comes, strike without thinking. Imagine if you start using this formula in every decision of your life. If you understand the game of timing everywhere, think how fast your growth will multiply. Because real victory is not just from hard work, but from smart timing. So friends, remember that a hurry only gives shortcuts, and shortcuts never last for a long time. But patience gives you permanent victory. Chapter 5, Turning Failures into Traps. Friends, I ask you a question. When you lose, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? Anger? Shame, or fear of what people will say? We have all tasted failure at some point. Failing an exam, getting rejected for a job, a loss in business, or a breakup in a relationship. And at that time, it feels like everything is over. But have you ever thought that the path to true victory is hidden behind that defeat? Look at the fox in the jungle. Not every attempt to hunt is successful. Sometimes it fails, sometimes the prey runs away, and sometimes circumstances are against it. But the fox doesn't give up and sit down. It learns from every failure. It observes where the mistake was. How did the prey escape? And the next time, it makes that same mistake its trap. That is, it makes its defeat a part of its strategy. Now think, if we also learn to use every failure in our life as a trap, will we ever lose? Because the truth is that failure is not the end. Failure is just a hidden lesson that the one who understands moves ahead. Think about it. Edison tried to make a bulb 1,000 times and failed, but he used every failure as a trap. Every time he understood which method would not work.
And finally, that journey gave light to the world. So failure was not his enemy, but his greatest teacher. In our lives too, every failure teaches us something. The problem is that we cannot see that lesson. We consider failure an endpoint, whereas in reality, it's just a turning point. Imagine you are walking on a path and suddenly the path is closed. Is this a failure? Yes, maybe for that path, but if you look carefully, maybe a small new path has opened next to it that will get you to your destination faster. Now the question is, will you cry in front of the wall or find a new path? Failures don't come to stop us. They come to show us a new direction, just like the fox. When one of its plans fails, it turns it into a trap. The next time, the prey gets stuck right where it escaped last time. This is the art of turning a defeat into a victory. Now look into your life. What was that failure that gave you the most pain? Exam? Business? Relationship? And now think, if that failure had not forced you to walk on a new path, you might not be where you are today. Failures are actually hidden traps. They take us out of our comfort zone and force us to do something new. If they were not there, we probably would always remain average. Remember, failure does only two things. Either it breaks you or it makes you, and this choice is in your hands. If you make it an excuse, you will lose. But if you make it a trap, the next time that same mistake will become your biggest weapon. Think if every time you fail, instead of crying, you start making a plan. If you turn every defeat into a lesson, one day you will have so many strategies that victory will only be a matter of time for you. The fox teaches us this. It knows that not every day is a hunting day. Sometimes it is better to stay hungry than to strike at an opportunity where victory is not guaranteed. It waits, and when the time is right, its one step changes the whole game. Now look at your life. How many times have you regretted taking decisions in a hurry? And how many times, when you had patience, did things come in your favor on their own? This is the difference. Patience makes situations easier for you. Chapter 6, The Silent Observer. Friends, have you ever noticed that the most talkative people in this world often have the least understanding, and the people who are quiet are watching everything, understanding everything, and are preparing for their next move inside? This is the greatest strength of the fox in the jungle. It is a silent observer. It walks without any noise. It observes everything around it without any show-off. For it, every sound, every smell, every movement is a clue. It sees everyone, understands everyone, but never reveals itself. If a human learns this art, the game of life will be his.
We humans often tell the world about all our plans, every dream, and every strategy in a hurry. We feel that by showing off, people will consider us great. But true power lies with the person who listens and watches quietly and then makes his move at the right time. Think about who wins in a poker game. Not the one who talks the most, but the one who can read the faces of others, understand their body language, and then play his card at the right time. This is the power of a silent observer. Now, recall the situations in your life. How many times did you lose an argument just by talking and talking? And how many times did you stay quiet, let the other person talk, and finally their own words became evidence against them? Because silence is not just the absence of words. Silence is a strategy. Being a silent observer doesn't mean you are a coward. It means you are smart. You know that every game is won not by talking, but by understanding. Just imagine you are sitting in a meeting. Everyone is giving their opinions, arguing, and trying to impress each other. And you are quietly observing everything. You are analyzing every person's words, their emotions, their insecurities, their intentions. Now think, when you speak, how powerful your words will sound compared to everyone else's. Because when you speak less, the value of every word increases. And when you observe more,
you gain the knowledge that everyone else missed. The fox teaches us this. Be silent but aware, because awareness is the power with which you can win without fighting. In our lives too, if we learn to be quiet for a while, listen carefully to others, and observe the situations, we often get the answers ourselves. Because when you speak, you repeat what you already know, but when you listen, you learn something new. The biggest advantage of being a silent observer is that you can see the world from a different perspective. Where people only see the surface, you see the depth. Where people only hear words, you catch emotions. Where people just live in reactions, you create responses. Imagine if you start using this quality in every field of your life: business, relationships, career, everywhere. Think how much clarity you will gain, and that clarity will make you different from others. So, friends, the most underestimated power of life is to observe quietly, because when you are quiet, the world underestimates you, and that moment becomes your greatest strength. Just like the fox, the jungle never considers it a direct threat, but that quiet, observing fox defeats everyone at the right time. Remember, sometimes being quiet is the loudest voice. Chapter 7. The Fox Within You. Friends, when you have listened to this journey so far, one question must be resonating in your mind. Are all these qualities, all these strategies, this cleverness and this strength limited to just the fox in the jungle? Or are all these qualities hidden within us too? The truth is that there is a fox hidden inside every human being. The fox that is not afraid of circumstances, but understands them and finds a way out. The one who doesn't make limitations an excuse, but defeats them with his creativity. The fox that quietly observes, waits for the right time, and then makes a move that changes the whole game. But the problem is that most of us don't recognize this power within us. We have been taught since childhood to be strong, to be powerful, to show everyone that you are the best. But true power is not in showing off. True power is hidden in that quietly working mind, which turns every problem into an opportunity. Think about it. How many times in your life have you considered yourself weak? You might have felt that you don't have resources, power, or support, but still, you somehow overcame the difficulty. How did that happen? Because at that moment, the fox inside you woke up. It showed you the way. It made you survive. It gave you victory. The real challenge is this: to permanently awaken that fox, to make it a part of your life every day, not just in emergencies. Imagine if you start living with adaptability every day. If you learn to use every limitation as a trap. If you analyze every problem with curiosity. If patience becomes your habit. If failures make you sharper instead of breaking you. If silence becomes your strategy. Then think, can anyone stop you? No, because then you will not just remain a human being, then you will become an unstoppable force that can survive and win in every situation. Remember, the world always listens to the story of the winner, and the winner is always the one who changes himself according to the circumstances, who never gives up, but turns every weakness into a weapon. The fox within you has come to remind you that you don't need to be a lion. You don't need to be the biggest and most powerful. All you have to do is believe in yourself, use your mind, and make your move at the right time. Life is a jungle. Here, there are many who are strong and fast, but the victory belongs to the one who is the most clever, who understands the circumstances and plays with his mind. So, friends, now is the time to awaken that mindset within you. Now is the time to look at every problem from a new perspective. Now is the time to observe quietly, have patience, and then take a step that surprises everyone. Because remember, true victory is not achieved by strength, but by the mind. And the mind works for the one who has recognized the fox within him. So, awaken the fox within you and write your own story in the jungle of your life. Conclusion. Friends, in this journey so far, we have seen that life is like a jungle. Here there are many who are strong and fast, but the real victory belongs to the one who is adaptable, who outsmarts limitations, who finds the answer to every question with curiosity, who waits for the right time with patience, who turns failures into traps, who observes quietly, and finally recognizes the fox within him. The fox mindset teaches us that it is not necessary to be a lion to win life. True power is in that mind, which finds a way in every situation, and that mind is inside you. So friends, now the question is, are you ready to awaken that fox within you? Have you come to this jungle of life not just to live, but to win? If yes, then from today, adopt the fox mindset within you and write your own story.